Hello, this is Ty Brown with DogBehaviorOnline.com, and I'm coming with a question from a member of our website. And the question says, my dog is very good at obeying a command when he is looking at me, and I tell him what to do along with giving him a gesture with my hand. He gets distracted easily. What would you suggest that I do when I have my dog on a leash and I want him to look at me so that I can give him a command using my hand and voice at the same time? Thanks for your time. Awesome videos. Your techniques actually work. Well, thank you, Diane. That's very kind to say. And my answer is probably going to be something that you may not expect. I don't ever teach, no, I do teach a focus command, but I never teach it in the context of just plain obedience, working on obedience. And I also don't really ever use much by way of hand signals. Now, the reason I don't, well, let me first explain why I don't, and then I'll explain when I actually do train a focus command with a dog. And so the reason that I don't train a focus command is because I want the command that I give my dog, whether it's to sit, to lie down, to come, whatever, I want the command itself to be the call to attention and the call to action. So it serves two functions. It calls the dog to attention and calls the dog to action. And so I find that when I have to get my dog to look at me, it's very limiting because he's not looking at me, half the time. He's looking around and he's doing whatever. And so I want my dog to hear the command and realize, oh, I got to pay attention, and oh, I have to sit or lie down or whatever. And that's another reason why I don't use hand signals, is because it's limiting. Like I say, we've got to get the dog's attention first. And so what I prefer to do, like I say, is train the dog to not need those things. And so the way that I do it is by following what I call my obedience formula, which is we give the dog one free command, and if he obeys, we praise. If he disobeys, I repeat with reinforcement and then praise. And so we always end with praise because we always end with the dog doing it, and then we just insist on on permanence, that the dog keeps doing it. So if we said sit, that he keeps sitting, or if we said down, that he keeps downing. And so when I'm training this, I specifically wait for moments when my dog isn't looking at me. So at first when I'm doing leash training and we're just hanging out and the dog's looking away from me, I'll tell him sit. Now of course he's not paying attention, so on the second time that I repeat sit, there's just a quick little correction or a quick little tug. Or the same thing, he's looking away or not paying attention, down, and he doesn't down, I give a quick little tug, quick little correction, and repeat the command. And so with enough repetition here, the dog starts to realize, oh, when I hear those commands, I have to pay attention and do something. And so to me, it's just a better level of obedience. It's too cumbersome to always be asking for your dog's attention, always be, hey, focus, or hey, buddy, or hey, Fido, whatever. It's too cumbersome to be asking for the attention, giving the command with the hand signal, what have you. Now, personally, I'm not like against hand signals overall. If you want to use hand signals, that's fine. But with my clients, I always prefer that that hand signals are like an afterthought. That it's just something fun that we do later once the dog understands how to be very obedient. And then, once the dog is very good at sitting, we'll add a little, a sit command or, a sit hand signal or down or what have you. And so that's, like I said, that's my personal opinion. That's how I like to train. I find that it's a little bit more work up front, but it leads to a more advanced level of training. Now, I mentioned earlier that there are times when I teach a dog to focus. Now, those times are typically for dogs with aggression issues, where we've been working on, correcting the aggression, and now we're in a situation where the dog's not being aggressive, but he's being a little bit, antsy or whatnot. Then I teach the dog to look at me and focus. Now, the way that I teach that, and for those that have studied any of my stuff know that I'm not a big treat trainer. I don't like treats very much at all for training, but this is one area where I will use, some treats in the beginning stages, and there's really nothing to it. It's, I look down at the dog, focus, he looks up, give him a little treat, focus, he looks up, give him a little treat. It's as simple as that. Now, like I say, Diane, you could do that for your dog with his obedience issues, but again, I would prefer that you would, give one free command and then reinforce, and what will happen is he'll learn the skill of focusing. Now, you didn't mention, maybe you are, I don't know, but perhaps if you're dealing with aggression, then yeah, teaching a focus command is a good idea. And like I say, in that case, a little treat. I was working with a dog the other day. We were doing it with a tennis ball. Just something that's very motivating, very interesting to get the dog to look up, pay attention. Because like I say, in the context of aggression, we really want the dog to be focused on the owner. And I guess one other time that I've trained, a dog to actually look at me is, for competition, obedience, and things like that. But If you're just training regular, everyday, run-of-the-mill obedience where you want your dog to listen to you, it might not be the best idea to train a focus command and to train, for hand signals. So, like I say, a little bit counterintuitive. Most dog trainers do train this. I just tend to not to because I think it leads to a lower level of obedience. So, I hope that makes sense. If not, just put a comment down below, ask any questions, and thanks for listening.